Hey guys, it's Justin with the Moody Olson team, here with my partner Mike as usual. Today we're going to talk to you about some of our favorite things. We've done it in the past. We've talked about our favorite places to eat. We've talked about our favorite places to shop, or we will be talking about our favorite places to shop in the future. Talked about a lot of the things that we like to do as families, with our families, and just enjoy Vegas in general. Today we're going to talk to you about something a little bit different. Mike and I do both enjoy getting out of town. So today we're going to talk about some of our favorite weekend trips from Vegas. They're going to be pretty close, relatively inexpensive, and just great things to do, either with your spouse or with the family, and just really enjoy those trips. So Mike, why don't you start us off? Where are we heading?
Absolutely. So just a little bit before we get into the individual location, guys, I just want to mention these are all weekend trips. So we tried to pick places that you can get to in no more than just a few hours, because we want something that you can, hey, get off work on a Friday, head out, get to where you're going, be able to enjoy all day Saturday there, get up Sunday, have a lazy morning, and be back home Sunday night, ready to get a good night's rest and go to work the next day. So we're not going to be doing anything that's 6, 7, 8 hours away. It's going to be stuff that, you know, generally speaking, about 4 hours is the farthest that we chose as far as locations. Weekend trips with the family, someplace where there's lots of fun things to do, lots of great things to eat, lots of great shopping to partake in. And our first location, this is a place where I spent a ton of time as a kid with my mom and with my family, camping, hiking, having all sorts of good times. This is the San Bernardino Mountains. And specifically, we're talking about a couple towns. We're talking about Lake Arrowhead and we're talking about Big Bear. So those towns are about 40 minutes apart, but I'm gonna lump them together because generally speaking, you know, they're gonna be about the same distance from Vegas, and they're gonna have a lot of overlap in the things that they offer, but they also have some unique features each of their own as well. So we're gonna put those together. Big Bear Lake, if you're not familiar with it, it is an alpine lake up in the San Bernardino Mountains, and there are plenty of fantastic things to do there. There is a zoo there. There is plenty of shopping and dining there. There is a ski resort not far away. There is activities that you can do on the lake. You can rent a boat. You can do water skiing. There is so much great stuff going on in Big Bear. I know a lot of people go up there to train for athletic events because of the altitude. Famously, Tito Ortiz, a former UFC light heavyweight champion, used to have his training camps up in Big Bear, used to take his guys up there. They always had some of the best cardio because they were up there training at that high altitude. If you want to go for someplace that has a little bit more upscale shopping, a little bit more upscale dining, a bit of a bougier experience, I would recommend going over to Lake Arrowhead. You have Lake Arrowhead Village, which is filled with something like 50 shops, several of which are right on the waterfront. You also have some outlet shops and some more upscale kind of luxury style shops. They also have tons of great food options, lots of tap houses, lots of places that you can get a really good quality steak, you can get a really good quality seafood meal. Just plenty of options up there. There's a lot of lodging options in both of these locations. Whether you want to stay in a hotel, that is an option that you have available to you, or you can do what we typically prefer to do when we go places like that, which is you can get yourself a short-term rental. Now, I remember back when I was a kid, my mom used to rent a cabin when we would go up there, and she would have to go through a short-term rental agency and rent the cabin for the weekend. Nowadays, you guys know we have VRBO and we have Airbnb. Almost all the short-term rental owners have converted over to these more modern systems. It makes it super easy to get your lodging squared away. You'll have plenty of pictures. You'll know exactly what you're getting into. So that's gonna be my first pick for a weekend getaway from Vegas, particularly right now, right? I mean, we're in the dog days of summer right now. It's 108 degrees outside. And man, I tell you what, I bet you if I were to look on my handy dandy laptop here.
Well, why you do that? I used to go up to Big Bear all the time. I can remember having many Thanksgivings up there at the cabin, and it was just a really wonderful feeling. Big Bear itself is more of a rustic town. They have a really, I would say, kind of old school downtown area. It's really beautiful around Christmas. So if you wanted kind of that country, mountain, downtown Christmas vibe, Big Bear is definitely gonna be the place to be. A lot of cabins right on the water, affordable cabins, especially if you're taking a big group and everybody's chipping in. You can really get a beautiful cabin for an affordable price. And then of course you have Arrowhead, which has fantastic restaurants. It has really great shopping. And I would say that as far as the lakes are concerned, Arrowhead is probably some of the prettiest water.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say it's not as pretty as Tahoe, but it's up there. It is a very beautiful lake. And like Mike said, it's an alpine lake. So you're going to be surrounded by big pine trees, lots of wildlife. It's just a really fun place. And in my experience, if you're a biscuits and gravy fan, you have to go to the Big Bear Airport.
Oh yeah.
Some of the best biscuits and gravy.
So you guys know, I've mentioned it before on the channel that I am a student pilot and I've been taking pilot lessons for a while now. I haven't quite finished my license just yet. Well, because quite frankly, flying lessons are expensive and I have to live on a budget just like everybody else. But one of the opportunities that I was able to take advantage of while I was taking my flying lessons is I did get to fly from Las Vegas here to go do practice landings at the airport in Big Bear. Mm-hmm. We stopped there and had lunch. So it was a cross-country flight, stopped there and had lunch. Just a fantastic burger that we had there. Like really, really good food at the diner in the airport. But back to what I was saying earlier, guys. It's 100, I checked right now, it's actually 104 degrees here in Vegas right now, and it is 86 degrees in Big Bear right now.
And it probably doesn't even feel like 86.
And I'm sure it doesn't under all those pine trees.
Yep, exactly.
I'm sure it feels much cooler than that. Speaking about the lodging, I'm taking a look right now. I'm on Airbnb, guys, and I just checked out like, hey, what if I wanted to get a cabin for next weekend? And I'm looking at $190 a night, $195, $162 a night, $130 a night, plenty of options in the short-term rental space, very reasonably priced. Guys, if you're looking for a weekend getaway out of Las Vegas and you want to get out of the heat, think about Big Bear, think about Arrowhead.
One thing I'd be remiss not to bring up, and maybe you just haven't had the opportunity to do it, I've been lucky enough to do it, in Big Bear, they have a really fantastic 9-hole golf course.
Yeah, they do have a great golf course up there, very reasonably priced. And it's actually not very hard to get a tee time on that golf course.
And it's a lot of fun. Because you're at elevation, you can be that big bomber that you want to be. They actually have, I believe it's the 4th hole. The tee box sits about 150 feet above the fairway. Yeah. So it's really one of those grip it and rip it holes. It's just a lot of fun. And of course, it's in a beautiful atmosphere. So you really get to enjoy the forest and the mountains and do one of our favorite things.
Absolutely. One more thing I want to mention for the kids, or for if you guys who are kids at heart, you got Santa's Village.
We do. I can remember going there as a kid every year.
Yeah.
It was closed for a long time and now it's reopened again.
Yeah, so guys, again, if you're looking to get out of town, you're looking for a little cooler weather, Big Bear, surprisingly close, surprisingly affordable, and just an absolute ton of options for things for the whole family.
Absolutely.
All right, Justin, what is your first pick for a weekend getaway?
You know, there's so many different things that I like to do from Vegas. A lot of them I'm just learning, so I haven't really got to experience them yet. But, you know, driving north, you know, up to Tonopah or Beatty for the locals, those are fun things. But one of my absolute favorite things to do, and it's become a family tradition for my daughter and my mother and I, is every year around Thanksgiving, we drive down to Williams, Arizona. And we go on the Polar Express. Williams is about three and a half hours, depending on how much you stop. You get to drive through some really great spots like Kingman, Arizona. You can stop and have breakfast or lunch, depending on what time you leave. And then from there, you're about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away from Williams. Williams is this really quaint, just off the highway, Route 66 town. So you're gonna have those old school Route 66 type diners and shopping. They also have one of my favorite things, which is Bearizona. So if you go at the right time of the year, it's a drive-through zoo, is how you start it. You drive through this zoo, and they have buffalo and they have bears and different animals that are just kind of free roaming. The first time we went, my daughter was sitting on my lap, I was in the passenger seat, and a brown bear just started walking around my truck, and the park ranger had to come out and kind of shoo him away so we could continue on with our driving tour. And then they had golden buffaloes, not the buffaloes at the casino, golden buffaloes, beautiful animals, huge animals. They came up to the window and they started licking the window of my truck. And of course my daughter was about 2.5 at the time. So what does she do? She starts licking back. It just made for a really memorable experience.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
I've met your daughter.
That's not why we go. It's one of the things that we like to do down there. But the main reason that we go every year is for the Polar Express. It's just like the movie. And it's because of the elevation there, because it's basically, they call it the entrance to the Grand Canyon. At 3 out of the last 4 years that we went, there's been snow on the ground. It actually snowed a couple times while we were there. So you really get that Christmas vibe. You get on the train for an hour and a half. They take you to the North Pole. You get to meet Santa. He gets on the train. It's just really a fun experience. And usually the next day we'll either go into Flagstaff and do another Christmas event. This last year we kind of did things a little bit differently. It was a little cold, so the bears weren't out at Arizona. So we went to the deer farm.
Okay.
And my daughter got to feed deer, which was great. They have about 100 deer there. And then they have camels. She got to feed a camel, which was disgusting. They have just a really nice variety of wildlife there. So it's just a really fun and enjoyable trip.
So I got to ask, because I've never been to Williams, possibly driven through there. I'm sure I've driven through there. It's right off the 40. I got it up on the map here. First of all, much like Big Bear, it's 84 degrees right now.
Yes, the weather is amazing there.
So if you're trying to get out of the heat, that's another fantastic option.
Absolutely.
But you know what I'm going to ask? Tell me about the food and tell me about where I can get a good drink.
So, like I said, it's a Route 66 town, so you're going to have a lot of those Route 66 type diners. So if you really like old school Americana, kind of home cooking at a restaurant, awesome burgers, fantastic milkshakes. There is a Mexican restaurant. We've never gotten to eat there because it's always super busy, but I have sat at the bar a few times. They do have some really, really good margaritas. I'm not gonna lie, I've had a few of those. And then there's a really great barbecue place.
All right.
It's probably the biggest restaurant in town. You can't miss it. There's big, huge red gas cans sitting out front. I can't remember the name of it. The barbecue platter that I get there every year is absolutely outstanding. And my daughter absolutely loves their strawberry shakes.
Listen, for my money, you talk about old school Americana diners. There are few joys in life greater than a really well-made patty melt.
Yes, there you go. I agree.
I love that.
Now there is, and I haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of it because, my mom isn't into it, and I usually there with my daughter and for my daughter. There is a couple of golf courses nearby. I haven't got the opportunity to take advantage of it. One of these days I will. And like I said, Williams is also called the gateway to the Grand Canyon. It's home of the Grand Canyon Railroad. Mm-hmm. So you can take the train into the Grand Canyon and you can do a day trip. You can do overnight trips into the Grand Canyon, stay at the Grand Canyon Lodge. There's so many different activities that you can do there. In the winter, they also have a snow park. So imagine a water park in the summer, but frozen in the winter so that you can do all sorts of fun snow activities at the snow park.
There's also camping out there.
There is camping. There's plenty of campgrounds. The hotel that we stay at, there's actually a great campground right across the street. Because again, the time of year that we go, it's really focused on the Polar Express. Everybody's out there to ride the Polar Express. So the campground across from us, it's an RV campground. And you'll see all these beautiful RVs all decked out with Christmas decorations. You can smell the campfires. It's just a beautiful place. So I would highly recommend when you get the opportunity, whether you're living in Vegas, whether you're not living in Vegas, if you can go to Williams at Christmas time, you will not regret it.
All right.
So what we got next? Where are we heading to?
I got to check out Williams, man. Williams sounds awesome.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about my next place. If you guys have been following the channel for any length of time, this is going to come as no surprise to you. This is one of my all-time favorite places in the entire world. We're talking about San Diego, California. I know I'm stretching it a little bit when it comes to the driving distance because you're pushing, depending on what part of San Diego you're heading to, you're somewhere between 4.5 and 5 hours. But we said weekend trips, and San Diego is a weekend trip for Stasha and I. It also depends on what part of Vegas you're coming from. Well,
honestly, if you work a half day on Friday, you can be there by 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon.
For sure. And if you live in Southern Highlands, you'll be there sooner than leaving from my house all the way up here in Centennial Hills.
Absolutely.
That being said, guys, we talk about weekend destinations. It's hard to beat San Diego. No matter what it is that you like to do, San Diego has so much stuff for the whole family. I mean, First off, let's start with the obvious. You have the San Diego Zoo, one of the greatest zoos in the entire world.
Absolutely.
I recently took Stasha there for her birthday. and we had an absolute blast. It was a great time. I've been to zoos all over the country, and nobody comes close to the San Diego Zoo. It's a long day.
It is a very long day.
There's a lot going on there, and it's not a flat. The grounds of the zoo are very hilly, so be prepared for that. However, I do recommend the bus tour.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely great. You'll get a chance to see the big overview of the zoo. And so what we did was we did the bus tour, and then while we were on the bus tour, we made notes of the things that we wanted to go back and check out. And then we kind of planned our route so that we weren't crisscrossing back and forth across the park and wearing ourselves out. You know, that's the first place that you should check out. After that, you got to talk about going someplace like, obviously you have Legoland. You know, if you want something.
I've never been to Legoland.
I've never been to Legoland either, but I've heard very good things, especially if you have smaller kids. You have SeaWorld, if that's something that you want to go check out. I know SeaWorld, it can be controversial sometimes. I'm not going to weigh in on that. That's not what we're here for, but it is a very popular attraction there in San Diego. And then, of course, you know Justin and I, we got to talk about the golf.
Oh yeah.
San Diego is an absolutely premier golf destination, guys. There are so many great golf courses, starting of course with Torrey Pines, one of the greatest public courses in America, multiple time host of the US Open, multiple time host of the PGA Championship, surprisingly affordable course.
It's actually a municipal course.
It is a municipal course. It can be difficult to get a tee time.
And if you know Mike and I, we're all about munis.
We are all about munis. You do have to plan ahead if you want to play on Torrey Pines. That being said, man, you don't have to play on Torrey Pines because there are so many other great options out there. Last time I was out there, I wasn't able to get a tee time for Torrey Pines, but I was able to get a tee time for the Riverwalk Golf Club. And I got to tell you, that place was awesome. And I think I only paid $60 for the round.
I remember you sending me pictures and I was like, man, where are you at? Where are you playing?
Yeah.
It didn't look like San Diego. It was beautiful.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. Other things that you have available, of course, you have the beautiful San Diego beaches and the Gas Lamp District. If you're not familiar with the Gas Lamp District, that is San Diego's downtown shopping and dining mecca, where you have all these really great restaurants and bars, great tap houses, great cocktail bars, really good food, lots of great shopping down there. Of course, you know we love baseball. We're hardcore Angels fans. However, if I got time and I'm in San Diego, I'm going to a Padres game. That is one of the best stadiums that I've had a chance to visit.
Petco is an amazing stadium. I love the location. It's right in the heart of downtown.
Right in the Gas Lamp.
Yeah, I mean, you have hotel rooms and office buildings looking into the park. It's just really a well thought out, well designed park.
And the lodging in San Diego is not difficult, guys. There are so many options for lodging, and depending on what you want to spend, you can find something. So you got lots and lots of hotel option, guys, ranging from budget friendly all the way up to high-end luxury hotels like the Hotel Del Mar or any of the upper class hotels in the Gas Lamp District. So you also have Airbnb and VRBO options available to you. If you're in the military, I actually took advantage of this years ago. We wanted to go on vacation, and at the time we were tighter on funds, and we stayed in the lodge on the Navy base, and it was relatively inexpensive. So if you're a veteran who has base access, if you're a retiree or if you're active duty military, if you stationed up here at Nellis Air Force Base, or if you happen to be one of our many retirees that lives here in Las Vegas, you want to go down to San Diego, consider staying in the lodging on base. You can save yourself quite a bit of money. And of course, you know, if you're looking for things to do, there's no shortage of options. The last time I was down in San Diego, I went deep sea fishing with Stasha's grandpa and had an absolute blast doing that.
You caught a pretty big fish, didn't you?
I caught a whole bunch of small fish.
Okay.
So we were fishing for rockfish. They run about that size right there. A big one might be about 8 inches. And I caught about 15 of them over the course of a full day, I want to say.
So I won't tell you about the 30-pound yellowtail I caught down there several years ago.
Well, we weren't yellowtail fishing, so, you know, if we had been, I'm sure I would have caught a 35-pounder. Anyways, guys, that's my second choice, San Diego. Justin?
You know, you're talking about San Diego, I can't help but jump in.
Sure.
Because San Diego is one of my favorite places too. I've taken my daughter to the zoo, and you're absolutely right. That is a wonderful place, and it is walking. Actually, she was a little bit younger. She was there with her godfather and his daughter, and I. And she was younger, so we had strollers. So walking those hills, pushing a stroller definitely became a labor-intensive day, but it was worth it. I could not get her out of the orangutan exhibit. I think maybe they reminded her of me, I'm not sure. But we had a great time. She loves SeaWorld. If you're into history, if you're into the military, there are tons of tours that you can do. Don't they have a tour, is it a battleship or an aircraft carrier?
There's an old aircraft carrier that you can do tours on out there. If I remember correctly, I don't remember if it's the Kitty Hawk or the Ronald Reagan, but I believe there is an old aircraft carrier that you can do tours on. I actually did a tour of the Kitty Hawk when it was an active service ship back when I was in high school in the JROTC program. Okay. So this would have been 95 or 96-ish, showing my age here. But
I was already out of high school in 95 and 96, so.
Yep.
So San Diego, there's so many different fun things to do. They also have the Wild Animal Park. It's adjacent to the zoo, but it's a little bit of a different experience. And one of my favorite places, I can't think of the name of it though. One of my favorite places is the historical downtown area, which is very close to the zoo. Some of the best Mexican food. Hands down.
Speaking of Mexican food, I don't know if I told you about the place where we got tacos while we were there.
Where'd you get them?
Somebody recommended this place to us. We went and checked it out. It was fantastic. It was called Lucha Tacos. And the whole place is completely decked out in Mexican lucha libre, professional wrestling masks, and artwork, and old photos of historic wrestlers, and the tacos were fire.
Yes. So San Diego is definitely one of those places. Again, it might be a little bit, it might take you a little bit longer to get there, 4.5 hours. But again, another one of those places, it's totally worth it, right?
Yeah, absolutely worth it. And a place that not only have I visited there, but we've visited there multiple times, and we have more trips on the horizon because, man, you just never run out of things to do.
No, you don't. And then even the things that you do, you want to do again.
Absolutely. So, all right, Justin, what is your second pick?
Well, because I'm a father of a 5-year-old, most of my weekend travels revolve around things that I want to experience with my daughter. I have to talk about Disneyland. Disneyland is about a 4-hour drive from here, 4 hours and 20 minutes, depending on traffic or when you leave. So usually what I'll do is my daughter and I will leave on a Friday late morning. We'll arrive in Orange County later in the afternoon, check into our hotel, not on property because we don't make that kind of money, but very close usually to Disneyland. And then we do what my favorite tradition is. And I've been accused of this by many friends and family. When I return to Southern California, they say, man, you just eat your way through the state. So I start hitting up my favorite restaurants, whether it be Michael's Super Burger to get my chili cheese fries, or my favorite restaurant in the world, Northwoods Inn for dinner. We usually hit up dinner that first Friday night, meet up with my friends, maybe Reagan's godfather and his family, and we'll sit down and have a nice dinner, and then we're up early in the morning, getting into the park as soon as we can, and we're spending our entire day at the park. Unfortunately, my daughter's favorite ride is It's a Small World. So that's usually a 3 or 4 time a day ride.
How long does it take you to get the song out of your head?
About a week. You're lucky I haven't come back and sang it to put it in your head.
I mean, I just locked the front door.
So, but she's, the more she goes and the more time we spend there, she's finding other rides that she loves. She loves the Jungle Cruise. She loves, she went on Pirates of the Caribbean. She loved it.
Have you traumatized her with the Pinocchio ride yet?
We did the Pinocchio ride, and
if you know, you know.
Yeah, the first time we took her there for her, I think it was her 4th birthday. We took her for her 4th birthday and surprised her. And it was the greatest thing. I met her mom there, and my family and her family and her mother's family all met there so that they could experience her first time there together. And as we're taking the tram from the parking lot to the park, we kept asking Reagan, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? She had no clue. Then when we got to the entrance, she looked at me and she said, Daddy, are we at Mickey's house? And lost it.
I bet she did.
It was hands down my best day at Disneyland. And growing up in Southern California, I spent a lot of time at Disneyland. That was hands down my best day. So we'll spend the entire day on Saturday just at the park. The trick is to get a room either on park if you can afford it, or a neighboring property very close, so that halfway through the day you can go back to your room, you can lay down for an hour or two and relax, let your children relax, maybe spend some time in the pool, and then head back to the park so you can enjoy it in the evenings. Because the lights and the fireworks show and the parades You don't want to miss the evening activities. So it's just a great day. And usually Sunday we'll sleep in until we have to check out. We'll go enjoy another one of my favorite meals. Maybe stop at one of her grandmother's houses and spend a little time visiting them. And then we're back in Vegas, usually by 6 or 7 o'clock Sunday night. It's just a great weekend to spend with my daughter, to spend time with family and friends as well, and to make what's more important. The only thing more important to me than making money is making memories.
Absolutely. I mean, I make money so I can make memories.
Exactly. And so I get to have those memories with my daughter and with my family. So it's just a great trip. So I highly recommend that.
All right, guys. So we're going to have a little bit of overlap here. Speaking of Disneyland, my last choice for a great weekend trip is Orange County.
Well, we're both from Southern California. That makes sense.
It does make sense. And we didn't coordinate these. We said we were each going to come with our 3 favorite picks for a weekend trip. And when we talked about it, we decided, hey, Justin's going to talk a little bit about Disneyland specifically. I'm going to talk about Orange County as a whole. I'll tell you what, honestly, I loved Disneyland when I was a kid. And of course, I took my kids there when they were younger. But nowadays, I can kind of take it or leave it.
You're not a Disney adult?
Not so much.
That's shocking.
So that being said, my last pick is Orange County. 4.5 hours from my front doorstep right here in Centennial Hills to any of the hotels that we usually stay at down in Orange County. Depending on where we're going, usually we stay either in Anaheim or Buena Park or Newport Beach. All of them are fantastic options. All of them have great choices for lodging. And of course, there is absolutely no shortage of options for things to do. Starting with, of course, the amusement parks. Justin already talked about Disneyland. I'm not going to belabor that point. You guys know all about the Magic Kingdom and the House of Mouse. I tell you that is not my personal preference for an amusement park in Orange County. My personal preference is going to be Knott's Berry Farm.
The second happiest place on earth.
Honestly, I'll take Knott's Berry Farm over Disneyland, and I do regularly because I've been to Knott's Berry Farm every year for the past 3 years, and I couldn't tell you. Oh, I can tell you the last time I went to Disneyland. It was 2014 when I took my kids there.
About 10 years. Okay.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years since I went to Disneyland. Whereas it hasn't even been but a month and a half since I was at Knott's Berry Farm.
This is true.
And so Knott's Berry Farm, guys, just a phenomenal theme park. It has lots and lots of rides, much more adult themed, roller coasters, lots of big, fast looping roller coasters. It's not going to be quite as expansive as going to, say, Six Flags. However, or Six Flags, I should say Magic Mountain specifically, what we're referring to here in Southern California. That place is the king of roller coasters.
Yeah.
They're gonna have more options than anywhere else. It's also a bit more isolated. It's up kind of in the hills in Santa Clarita, out of the...
It's up there in the North Valley.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On the 5 heading out of town, heading out of LA, yeah.
So Knott's Berry Farm right there in Buena Park, right in the heart of Orange County. Lots and lots of other things going on around that area. It's why I love that as a vacation destination for my family. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the dining. There is so much great dining. I personally prefer to go down either to Huntington Beach or Newport Beach. I find a lot of my favorite restaurants down in the boardwalk areas of those particular beaches. Just off the top of my head, I absolutely love, there's a little seafood restaurant in Newport called the Flying Fish that Stasha and I try to go to whenever we're in town, usually for a date night. It's right on the water in Newport Beach. There are some fantastic restaurants in Huntington Beach. I tell you what bums me out, man. Remember when they had the rubies out on the end of the Huntington Beach Pier?
There is still a restaurant out there.
There's a restaurant there.
I can't remember what it's called though.
No, I haven't tried that restaurant, but I remember as a kid going to that Ruby's and I really, really miss that. But that being said, there's still plenty of great options out there for food and lots of great options out there for drinks as well.
Oh, yeah.
There is plenty of great brew pubs that serve local microbrews, which is absolutely my favorite. Among other things out there, there's plenty of great golf out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of great golf options, reasonably priced, not too difficult to get a tee time. Much like San Diego, if you go to some of the lesser known courses, you can get out pretty easily. Of course, you have access to the ocean and all of that brings. I can tell you the last time we went out there, we went out to Huntington Beach. We spent a day out there. All of us got entirely too sunburned, even though we did use sunblock. but apparently we didn't use enough, or we didn't reapply.
You didn't reapply properly.
I guess we didn't reapply properly
I'll
because
get you every time.
we all got sunburned, but we had an absolutely great day out there. And there's plenty of great educational things to do in Orange County as well. Just off the top of my head, some of the things I've taken my family to do. I always like to take one day of our vacation and dedicate it to something educational, something culturally enriching. I think it's important that the kids know that you should spend time learning about the world around you in a meaningful sense. And so we always take a day to go to a museum of some sort. We've been to the Bowers Museum in Santa Ana, which is absolutely great. I love that museum. We had a really good time, spent the full day there. This most recent trip, we went with your recommendation, and I can't thank you enough for it because we had a blast. We went to San Juan Capistrano.
Beautiful, isn't it?
So gorgeous, and so much history and so much education to be had there. We had a really great time, and it is surrounded by some really great shops, some really great dining. So there's lots of good options there. The Nixon Library is there.
Nixon Library is amazing.
Nixon's Presidential Library is there. That's actually going to be on our to-do list for our next trip down there. So that's another good option if you're looking for something educational to do. And of course, if you don't have to confine yourself to Orange County for the educational things. I know in the past we've gone so far as driving up to Exhibition Park. So we could go to the California Science Center, or we could go to the Natural History Museum.
Ronald Reagan Library is up there as well.
Yes. So guys, when it comes to weekend getaways, for my money, the ultimate choice is going to be Orange County, because you have the amusement parks, you have the museums, you have the beach, you have the golf, you have great dining, you have great shopping, you have, well, something that Justin and I can't get enough of. You got good old Angels baseball.
Absolutely.
If you're a hockey fan, you got the Ducks. It is very hard to beat Orange County. And Orange County is surprisingly reasonable if you take your time and you shop around. So when we went down there, we got 2 hotel rooms for 4 nights. I was outdoor right around $650. And now that took a little doing. I had to shop around. I was on the internet, looking for how to save money. My point being is that if you take your time and you look for the deals are there to be found.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we're both Southern California natives, we do like to take advantage of the fact that we can go down there and enjoy so many things that Southern California has to offer. And I'm sure you look at it the same way I do. When I take my daughter down, I want her to get a taste of what I grew up with. And I'm sure your daughters get to see that as well. Now, one of the best things, hands down, one of the best things about being able to go down to Southern California and enjoy all these great things that we're talking about is the fact that we get to come back to Las Vegas and take advantage of the fact that we can live here for so much cheaper, so we can afford to go do those things.
Yeah, 100%. One of the best parts about living here. I mean, honestly, it was part of why I chose to move to Las Vegas, is that I could get out of California, not be subject to a lot of the negative aspects of living in California, such as the taxes, such as the traffic, such as, some of the political aspects that I don't care for so much on a personal level. And I could be right here on the doorstep and able to go and enjoy the parts of California that I do enjoy anytime I want.
Yep.
And we have taken advantage of that. Myself and Stasha, we go down there probably almost quarterly.
So you guys go down 3 or 4 times a year at least.
We do, yeah. And I would not have it any other way. Like, it is very much something that I enjoy. And like I said, it was a driving factor in why I chose Las Vegas when I was considering where I wanted to live. For me, the deciding factor was being this close to Southern California and all that it has to offer and all the things that I miss from my childhood.
The reason we're doing this video isn't just to talk about how great Southern California is, or Williams, or any other places that we're talking about. Is a lot of times people don't realize just how central you are when you live in Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. There are so many great things to do here in town, but then there's so many great things that you can do over the weekend just a few hours away. And Mike and I really wanted to show you guys that there are so many different options. One thing that we haven't really touched on is the fact that the airport here in Las Vegas is such a busy airport that you can get a flight to almost anywhere at almost any time. And a lot of times you can find those nonstop flights. Usually they're going to be a little bit less expensive because you have so many flights coming in and out. So they're always looking to fill those seats. There's just going to be that extra room. And it's a great airport to navigate. So think about that if you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas.
Real quick before we move on, there are 2 places that I want to mention real quick while we're talking about Orange County, 4 places to go eat. First of all, you were talking about Disneyland. It made me think of some place that my mom used to take me when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it. I grew up on it, and it is one of the reasons that I would go out of my way to go back to Disneyland. And that's so that I can go into the park, go into the French Quarter, go to the Orleans Cafe, and get the Monte Cristo. That I grew up eating every time we went to Disneyland. That's what I had for lunch, and it is one of the most nostalgic meals I can think of.
That's your favorite, like Disneyland food, is the Monte Cristo?
That is my favorite Disneyland food.
My daughter and I will kill churros, or as Reagan calls them, churros. We'll kill 3 or 4 churros each during our visit. So I get you.
For Disneyland, it's the Monte Cristo.
Food is memory.
It is. For Disneyland, it's the Monte Cristo. For Knott's Berry Farm, it's the chicken dinner.
Oh, let me tell you, that chicken dinner at Knott's Berry Farm, for sure.
The other place that I want to mention, if you find yourself in Orange County, if you are, like I am, a fan of a lobster roll, there is a place called the Hook and Anchor. It is right there in downtown Newport. Just a small little place. We're talking maybe 10, 12 tables, not very big at all, but they have one of the best lobster rolls that I've had here on the West Coast. They always have great local beer on tap. Highly recommend it if you're looking for some place to grab dinner. It's not cheap, but it's very, very good. All right, moving on. What's your last place?
My last place is, something a little bit for me. Time that I want to spend away, maybe not being a parent. So I want to talk about Mesquite, Nevada. You might not have heard about Mesquite, Nevada. It's actually one of the fastest growing cities in the country. It is the fastest growing city in Nevada right now. It's mainly a retirement community, and so you have a lot of the boomers and those generations that are retiring now, and they're looking at places like Mesquite. One of the reasons that I love Mesquite is they have 8 golf courses.
Home of the World Long Drive Championships.
Let me tell you, it is just a wonderful place to spend a weekend. There are several of the resorts out there that do packages. So Mike and I have actually talked about getting the families together and doing the $99 stay and play. So you get a night at the hotel and you either get a round of golf or a day at the spa. So for 99 bucks, you can't beat that deal. There's great dining options. Now, this is going to be resort centric. So they're going to be larger casinos out there. They're going to be built like they're going to be resorts. So that's mainly where you're going to stay, or at these large casinos. They all have fantastic pools, really nice restaurants and dining. Most of them are either attached to a golf course or have partnerships with golf courses so that you can get kind of stay and play deals. But there are so many other great things that you can do. If you wanted a little bit of a historic experience, you could take another 45-minute drive north, go up into St. George, Utah. When you go into St. George, you get to drive through the gorge, which is a really fun drive. I don't know if you've gone through the gorge?
Yeah, absolutely. So Stasha's family is actually from Grand Junction, Colorado, which is on the western slope right there on the other side of the Utah border. We go back and visit them once or twice a year typically, and when we do so, we drive up through the gorge up to, I believe it's I-70, and then we catch I-70 all the way over across Utah. What a very long and barren traverse that is. And we head out to Grand Junction, Colorado, where she's from, to go visit family. So yes, I have had a chance to drive through there.
It's a really neat drive.
It is, and it's really fun in my Audi.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I have a big SUV, so I'm more of a cruiser. Mike's more of the sports car. So you can do all sorts of different things in the Mesquite area. They also have the Virgin River. It's not a huge river, but if you want to go down, you could fish it, you can float it, depending on the time of the year. So you have some opportunity to do that. One of the things that I haven't got the opportunity to do yet, and I want to do, and it's just outside Mesquite on the south side in Bunkerville. They have camel rides.
Really?
Yes. So they have a herd of camels, and you can go out there and you rent the camel, and it's just like going on a horseback ride, except you're riding a camel in the desert.
Not gonna lie, I saw all the camels I wanted to see overseas.
I'm sure you did. I did not. So I think that would be a fun experience, and when my daughter's older, I'm sure I'll introduce her to that as well. So it's just a great kind of a way to get out of town and recharge your battery, play some golf, have some great drinks, eat some great food, and just, spend time either with yourself, your loved one, friends and family, whoever you're with. It's just a great way to get out of town.
You know what I love about Mesquite is the value. It's only an hour away. From my house to the Casablanca Hotel, which is where I usually stay when I go there, takes me exactly 1 hour to get there. And I have gone for the last 3 years now and participated in a golfing trip that I go join a bunch of my friends from Colorado. They come out, and it's a big package deal where it's organized and they bring out, I want to say something like 40 people come out and participate in this trip. And it costs me, I want to say this year it cost me $600, maybe $650. And that covered 4 nights of lodging and 3 rounds of golf.
I'm very disappointed I get to go this year.
Yeah, well,
next year for sure.
Next year we can make it happen, my brother. But the value is fantastic. And the golf courses out there are insane. Even the more budget-minded courses, such as the Casablanca course that is associated with the hotel, is absolutely beautiful. It's always in really good shape. I have absolutely no problem playing that course. It's as nice as, it's definitely as nice as playing at the Las Vegas Golf Club out here.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you could talk about, some of the higher end courses like Conestoga. Even those courses can be played for less than $100, especially during the week. So,
and the summer.
And in the summer, yeah. So guys, the golf out there, and much like Williams, or even more so like the course in Big Bear, you are at altitude, which is why they have the long drive championship there. So your ball will absolutely go a mile.
I've had so much fun in the Mesquite area. I've actually sold a home in Mesquite.
Really?
I actually represented somebody and helped them sell their home in Mesquite. And getting to do that, I got to experience the vibe of the city because I spent a lot of time out there. And it just has a relaxing vibe. When I get out there, I can just feel my stress levels come down. I can feel my heart just get into that right rhythm. Because I know I'm about to play some fantastic golf, or I know I'm about to have a nice drink, or just have a good meal. So Mesquite is definitely up there on my list. Now there are a lot of other places that Mike and I like to go. We didn't talk about Laughlin or Havasu, just some, the Grand Canyon we touched on a little bit. There are so many great places. Maybe we'll do another video in the future and talk about day trips.
Drop a comment below if you want us to do a follow-up on this and talk about day trips, because I've already got some places in mind.
Yeah, and then buy a house from us so that we can actually go out and video these places as well.
Absolutely.
So do you want to take us out of this video, Mike?
Let's take it out right now. All right, guys, you know the deal. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever we put out a new video. We do 2 videos every week of the best locals knowledge, real estate content for the Las Vegas Valley. Guys, if you need lending help, reach out to our partners, Steve Schauer and Linda Vo with Security National Mortgage. They're absolutely the best at what they do. Steve's been doing this here in town for well over 20 years. They can help you put together the roadmap. If you're not ready to buy a home yet, they can tell you what you qualify for, what kind of rates you can get, how much home you can afford, and they can help you get to where you need to be if you're not quite where you need to be just yet. So they can tell you exactly how to get there so you can qualify for that dream home for you and your family. Make sure whether you're moving here next week, next month, or next year, reach out to the Moody Olson team. We would love to help you find your dream home. If you're looking somewhere else, you should still reach out to us because we have developed partnerships with some of the best agents around the country, and we can make sure that you get somebody who's going to be there for you and treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. Guys, who you pick as your real estate agent matters. It matters a lot. A really good real estate agent is going to make the home buying process seamless. They're going to make it painless, and they're going to make sure that your best interests are taken care of. Make sure that you reach out to us. All of our contact information is down below. You can reach us on email. You can give us a phone call. You can send us a text message. You can schedule a Zoom call. Guys, we are here to help you and your family find your dream home here in Las Vegas. Until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Justin.
We're out of here.